Hi Ravi, how are you?
Hi Mahesh, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, very good. Okay, so I think so. We should start. A lot of people are already in. We don't want to keep them waiting. So I hope everybody is staying safe. These are tough times, and uh, but work doesn't stop. So Oorwin continues its ongoing series, webinar series for the recruitment in the HR community, and so today the topic is pretty interesting. So let me introduce myself. I'm Mahesh Iyer. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer Global for Oorwin, and I will be moderating the webinar. And we have an expert on AI, Ravi, my colleague. He's the CTO. So I will let Ravi introduce himself and the hot topic of AI in and recruitment. So all to you, Ravi.
Thanks, Mahesh. Thank you. Thanks for that. Hello, everyone. Good evening. So today, in myself, Ravi, I'm CTO and I work with Oorwin Engineering. Today's topic is, really an interesting one. I'd like to uh, cover some of the latest trends that are happening in the recruitment industry and how AI is helping out in terms of increasing the productivity and efficiency of it. Okay. So let me quickly walk through in terms of what exactly the AI and what was the usage of AI a few years back and what is its dominance now. It has become a buzzword in all the industries as you have been hearing, right? Not only just the recruitment, but if you talk about any other industry, whether it is a manufacturing one, whether it is a hospitality or life sciences, the artificial intelligence has been a buzzword. So if you look back, around 7 to 8 years, AI is predominantly being used in, in defense or in rocket science and all that, where there would be a lot of predictive analysis, machine learning, deep learning, and all that. But it was a choice. It was a choice before. But if you look at the way the whole information has been progressing, the implementation of AI is no longer a choice. It is more of a necessity in all the industries, and not only just the recruitment or sales or anything, but it is a necessity in every aspect of activity that we have in our day-to-day life. So and also particularly when it comes to the recruitment, the whole set of activities that we do in a recruitment has not been changed from last 20 years. It is the same one. Let's say I have a hiring requirement or I have a job requirement in my organization. There are typical steps that we follow. You publish this job in different job boards, or you reach out to different social channels, and you search resumes based on some keywords that we put, whether it is a technology or a job title or whatever. And once you get the profile, the recruiter painstakingly go through each and every resume for different keywords and all that. If you look at it, the whole process of this recruitment hasn't been changed in last 18 to 20 years. It's the same traditional way of doing things. Now if you look at the whole chemistry of the candidates, right? It has been changed. It has been changed from last couple of years in terms of the behavior of the candidates or the behavior of job seekers. If you look at it, 75% of job seekers hate to go to job boards. 75% of these job seekers don't want to put their resume in job board. The moment they put their resume in job board, they know what happens. They are bombarded with thousands of mails, dozens of calls every day, and they never know whether they would get the reply even if they apply. So they always hate to go for the job boards, right? That is one part of it. Another one is 70% of the candidates are passive job seekers, right? So these are the candidates who are very qualified, but they are not in the mode of looking for job actively, unless if they get an opportunity in the queue, which is an encouraging one for them. And another one is 62% of the candidates are inclined for applying jobs on the company sites rather than going for the job boards and all that. So and another one is experience. If you look at the percentage part, right, the candidates are looking for a positive experience whenever they are going into the recruitment cycle. How the company is responding to his application, how the whole process has been happening, how the branding activities are doing, how the onboarding activities are happening. They are looking at the positive experience side of it. And the last one is there's a lot of dependency on the social media. Most of the job seekers are doing a lot of background verifications, or they are actually looking at different aspects of the company in social media, how these companies are performing, how how they are actually dealing their employment employees, and how they are hiring, what are their practices. They are actually doing a lot of background things, and they spend a lot of time on the social media. And after doing all these research, they are inclined in terms of choosing for which company that he would like to go for, which opportunity that he can take out. So these are the first cut information when you look at the candidate behavior that happened, that has changed over a period of time.
So, so Ravi, I have seen a lot of people are now engaged on social media like LinkedIn, and there's so much of information now. AI means information. That's what I understand. AI means data. AI means loads and loads of information. So, do you think all these companies which are hiring using the social media platform, are they using some kind of a tool, or are they able to identify the right candidate using a technology, with using AI as a base for it? Because it's all about data, right? And all about information, and everything is available for the candidates these days.
Absolutely.
What is your thought?
Absolutely. It's all the information. Now the information is abundant. When you talk about the, information, it's the information about the candidate, and it's the information about the company as well, right? So if you have all this information available, taking a decision on it is extremely easy. Let's assume that I am looking for a particular role, and I don't want to go for a traditional job boards and all that. But what I wanted, is to identify a right candidate. When you're talking about the right candidate, there are different things that we look at, not only just the technical aspects of it, but also the other aspects of it. How the behavioral aspect of the candidate, how he is responding to certain events that are happening around the world, how his thought process is, about all these events. All these can be captured from the social media. Let's say, I have an event that happened in US on how this particular individual is responding to that event in Twitter, in Facebook, in LinkedIn. It actually captures the behavioral aspect of the candidate as well. Not only just the technical aspect of it, but even the behavioral aspect also you can capture using all these tools. So the NLP has been, I mean, the natural language, it's one of the concepts that we see in the in the AI, which actually captures all this information. So by the time you have the profile available for you, there are a huge number of tools that can be used, which can give you a lot of information about a candidate and as well as the company, right? So yes, when we talk about information is extremely important, and we have a huge number of tools available. And the recruitment is going towards the community recruiting, the social recruiting. So the job boards recruiting is actually going declining. That is a common factor for everyone. But the more quality hires are happening on the social hiring and as well as the community hiring.
Okay, super.
So if you look at what are the challenges before even going into what are the options and how AI is helping, it is extremely important to understand, what is the current ground in terms of understanding, the real, issues. Now, if you look at, 75% of the work that these guys are doing, all the recruiters are doing is more of a repetitive work. They really don't need to use really any smartness to do all these activities. right? Once they get the job requirement, they publish that in different job boards. You really don't need to have a smartness to do it. If you get the resumes, they need to painstakingly go through each and every resume to identify whether this particular candidate is a right match or not. That is also a lot of manual effort. You really don't need to have a big smartness for that. And these are all manual and laborious process, and it's a very time consuming. And if you look at it, in the whole recruitment process, it's all dependent on the resume and the recruiter. Whatever the recruiter decides, whatever the recruiter feels at that point of time, whole of the decisions would, depend on that. Now, if you look at it, there are chances that it can be biased. It can be biased on in many directions. It could be on the age of the candidate, it could be gender of the candidate, it could be the race of the candidate, it could be of anything. It all depends on who is handling it. There is no control. It is more on it can be anyway, right? So these are some of the typical challenges that we look at in the recruitment part. But
so Ravi, I have a very interesting take on bias. It's a very amazing point, which is I think so future, where I have heard stories where people candidates, a very good candidate has not been shortlisted just because the person has taken a gap. Let's say a lot of people have a gap in their resumes. They have not worked. They had some challenges, so they had to take a gap. So a lot of these recruiters, with the moment they call you, they ask you, have you taken a break? So the moment the person says yes, I had taken a break because I had some personal challenges, the person is very skilled, but still the recruiter decides. Maybe the management has not decided, but the recruiter has decided whether whether his CV goes to the next level or not. So AI will be very useful if we are able to eliminate all these. These are emotional aspect, but still very important aspect. So very valid point, Ravi. I like that thought process of bias thing, which I'm seeing creeping a lot these days. A lot of organizations have recruiters and HRs, so they will try to hire their friends and families and all that, but it is not more of skill based, it's more of personal based, so which is not right all the time.
That's exactly the point, Mahesh. Yes. So biasing is one big factor nowadays. It all depends at that moment what that recruiter is, really thinking about that particular individual. It is more of a judgmental at that point of time. But yes, one of the aspects, as you were mentioning, if someone has a break, it's a normal tendency that came up from an orthodox way of recruiting people, right? Okay, this guy has taken a break. He might have not worked for a certain period of time. He might not be a good fit for this particular job. Is the assumption that is been coming in terms of the old orthodox way of recruiting things, and also the gender part that we are talking about.
Oh yes, gender part is like I have heard stories where because usually the break happens with females because they take a break for marriage or for so what happens is when they come back, I have seen 70% of the time the consultant or the recruiter is a female. Even she doesn't understand that the person has to be hired based on skill, not based on the break. So AI will help in a long way in hiring the right people, not based on emotions or judgment. Very, 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 very interesting, Ravi.
So we have quite a good mature systems that we currently have in terms of shortlisting these profiles purely on merit basis. When you have there was one more webinar that I was delivering the other day with the NASCOM. It is more of a ethics in AI, right? AI is a boundaryless thing. Unless you don't have an ethical boundary that you define, again, the AI can be a disaster in terms of implementing as well. So that's a completely different ballgame. Yes, we have a very mature systems, very controlled systems where we can have unbiased things that can be implemented with the AI. Okay. Yeah. So the first part, right? What are the advantages that we have with AI? I would like to cover in different aspects of it, how AI can help in the recruiters, how AI would help for the organizations, how AI would help for the candidates aspects as well. It's a 360 degrees that I would like to cover, not only from the organization and recruiter point of view. The first part for any recruiter is, the content that they put in. Let's say I have an open position. I wanted to put a very apt job description wherever that I wanted to put in, whether it would be a job board or a social media, or if I want to share with the candidate. The biggest problem with the existing, market is, we are not equipped with, the latest content of any particular skill set that we are looking at, right? So they usually go into some job boards and copy paste the job description. But we have a really good augmented writing AI tools available, where these tools would give you everything that you needed to know, while writing a resume, or while writing a job description, or if you are curating a data for your blogs or a website, or if you are planning to go for any a branding where you wanted to have alignment with the content. Everything you could be able to get it from these beautifully designed augmented writing tools. As I was mentioning, it gives you everything that you needed to know when you are when you start writing any particular content. Let's say I'm planning to write a job description for a particular role in a particular location. When you are trying to do that, these tools would advise you what kind of vocabulary that you need to use, for that particular location. Let's say if there are any local candidates that you are looking at, there might be certain vocabulary that needs to be, considered while you are curating the job description. Unless you don't know, it will not catch the eye of the candidate. Likewise, these tools can elaborate the skill sets. It can actually gives you the tech trends mapping. It actually gives you the suggestions. It all depends on what is happening around, and also latest trends and all that. You really don't need to worry about it. It gives you everything. And also it actually gives you the score, right? How many audience that you can reach out with this particular content. If you use the certain words, what is the performance of this content also it can provide. So augmented writing is one of the buzz thing that is happening, not only on the job description side. It would advise the candidates while preparing their resume as well. What are the terms and what are the skill sets that he needs to use? What is the real trend that is happening in that particular technology verticals? Everything. It's a beautifully designed tools with AI. And next one is the marketing part. As I was saying, right, it is extremely important that what content that you are putting in the market. Let's say if I'm going for a particular position, what is that I'm conveying in terms of what we needed in the candidate, and where we are actually publishing that particular content, and how we are doing it. So the marketing of it is also extremely important. So there are different aspects of it. What content you wanted to have, where you want to put that content, when you wanted to put that content, and how you wanted to consume that content, right? So these are all extremely important whenever you are putting the marketing thing in place. So now when it comes to the recruitment part, marketing is extremely important in terms of going for a social hiring. As I was mentioning, there are few trending things that are happening from last couple of years. The hiring is more inclined towards the social hiring and as well as the community hiring, because the quality of the candidates and legitimacy of these candidates are very high when you are doing through social hiring and community hiring. And also the passive hiring. As I was saying, most of the time what we do is, I got a particular opening in my organization, we tend to go and talk to the candidate, right? So it should always be other way around, where the candidate would be looking at our organizations, if there is any position for me in this organization where I can join, right? So how that would happen, when you are actually reaching out the passive candidates at right time with the right information. It might not be the immediate position that we might be looking, but the experience that you are providing to the candidates. There are a lot of automation tools with the AI enabled things that would do it for you, where the passive hiring is can be possible, right? And also the employer branding. As I was mentioning, employer branding is extremely important, because the job seekers are very conscious these days. They are looking at the 360 directions of the organization, how this organization is being run, what is the roadmap for this organization, how they are treating the employees, what are the technology stacks that they have. Unless and until you have all this information, properly propagated in different channels, there is no way that this can be published to the right candidate. Now we have a lot of AI tools which would take care of all of these information. Okay, the next part is sourcing. This is extremely important, how we are sourcing the candidates, and what kind of quality profiles that we are getting, and how we would go through all these candidates, right? So now we have extremely intelligent tools. The moment you put the job description in these systems, the system would understand where to hit to get the best suitable profiles, right? So if you talk about the AI enabled harvesting, or if you talk about a social hiring that we are talking about, well, we are talking about the community hirings that we are talking, and another the technical blogs, right? What these AI systems typically do, right? It's not a event based. Let's say I have a job, and based on this job opening I go into these profiles and try to get the profiles at that instant. But these systems actually keep an eye on trends, how the candidate trend is happening. Let's say I have a Microsoft BI position, the system understands where I need to go and hit for that particular position, right? So if let me give you a classic example of some of the systems that we have in the market, is that it gathers all the information from all the sources, where exactly these Microsoft BI professionals are available. If you look at it, Texas is a hub for Microsoft BI, and how does the system know that this is a hub, right? All that information can is pulled out from different technology blogs, whether we are talking about Stack Overflow, whether you are talking about the Facebook, whether you are talking about any technical blogs. There are certain tools which would gather all this information about the candidates, and as well as the information that we are talking about, right? The skill sets at a particular location. So what are the advantages of it? What system would bring in to you? One is the productivity of it. You would always find the better candidates at a very less cost. You really, if you typically look at the recruiter way of doing it, they go to a particular job board and search for it, or they go for any contacts that they have. These are the two mediums that they typically use. Now if you look at it, these AI enabled tools typically go into all the mediums, and it doesn't mean that they just go for every possible way and try to get every possible resume. That's not how it does. It actually do a lot of intelligent search. That is the one that I was mentioning about. If you typically look at the old fashioned traditional orthodox way of searching profiles, is more of a boolean and keywords. I put a particular keyword with a Java developer or a BA developer or whatever, and it searches the resumes and tries to get it. But the intelligent search that is currently booming up, and one of the implementations that we have done in Oorwin as well, is a semantic intelligent search. So it actually takes care of the 360 directions of that particular requirement. It is not only just the skill set, it is not only just the job title. It also considers the responsibilities that are needed. When you are putting Java developer as one of the search criteria, right? It doesn't, stop searching with the Java developer as a keyword. It automatically searches everything that is around it. So all the job titles that are within the neighborhood of Java developer, like Java developer, J2E developer, Java consultant, J2E consultant, and not only Java, but all the technologies within the neighborhood of Java. It does all the 360 directions, while screening these profiles. And also the one that I was talking about, the unbiasing. Now we don't have any human intervention here. The moment you have the profile, the system would take care of all the 360 directions in terms of what is needed for the job. Under passive talent, as I was talking, it is not only just the job boards, but the AI systems would actually go through multiple portals. So when we are talking about the Twitter or Facebook, Stack Overflow, or any technical blogs, it automatically goes there and verifies these candidates, and it actually captures the intentions of that candidate, whether he is open for these positions or not. and it automatically initiates conversations using AI enabled intentional capturing chatbots and all that. And the better candidate engagement, as we were saying, right? We have a lot of tools in AI, to improve the candidate engagement. One of it being the intentional capturing chatbots. These chatbots chats as if there is a human on the other side, right? So it captures the intention of the other guy. It's not only just a predefined flow, but it also captures the emotions and intentions of the candidate as well.
So it's very interesting. So my thought process for this is there are two aspects to it. One is we are reducing the time frame in sourcing, which is very critical in the current scheme of things with massive hiring in some industries. Second is the employee experience of onboarding. So I know we have not come to that, but even during the sourcing time, if somehow the candidate gets that great experience, it's gonna go a long way in the entire 360-degree cycle for the customer, for the employee onboarding. So very interesting. So time is something which is very key. So AI is going to specifically help in reducing the TAT for sourcing a candidate, is what I can see from all this.
Exactly. It's as simple as that. I got a job requirement. I just replied to the job with a resume, and my AI system responded to that job, to that particular application instantly, right? And instantly with a link where the candidate can just click on the invoke a chatbot. The chatbot would talk to you in any medium. It's not only on the laptop; it's on your mobile that can be connected to your with your WhatsApp or your Slack or Facebook Messenger or whatever medium that you are comfortable with, and you can instantly ask your questions. Where is this position? Who is the client that I need to work on? What are the prospects of this company? If a chatbot can provide all that information instantly, I sit in front of my laptop, I submitted my resume, an application, I instantly got the reply where I can start chatting. And here I'm talking about 50 or 60 applicants who applied for that job, at that point of time. You really don't need to have 50 recruiters who can respond within 10 minutes of, all these applications, right? But parallelly, you have all these intentional capturing chatbots which can take care of it, right? And you can imagine, right? If you have to, initiate a discussion with 50 recruiters, 50 candidates, it would typically take a 3 to 4 days for any particular recruiter to cover all these 50 candidates. But it's instantaneous, and imagine the experience the candidate will have. The moment I submitted, I have everything that I needed to know. I have everything available in my fingertips from the chatbot, from any medium that I needed, right? So that's the beauty of AI systems. That would cover a lot of things in terms of unbiased approach in screening the profiles. That would cover the experience the candidate would get with any organizations, and the passive talent that I was talking about. Most of these candidates might not be interested, but tempting those candidates with this position and the content and the kind of experience that we are giving to them, we can always bring them back to the table.
Yep, sounds good.
And next is a screening and insights. This is really important. Now you have loads and loads of information available in the market. The moment you put something in the system, right? So you have all this information available in your in the tools. Let's say when we are talking about the ranking and assessments, now I got 100 profiles for a particular job. Is it really feasible for me to go through all the 100 profiles and identify the suitability of these profiles? Now the AI systems are so matured, it actually gives you almost 85 to 90% of accuracy in terms of the suitability of the profiles based on the job description that you have. When you are putting a job description, there are multiple criteria that you might be looking at. One is the job title part of it, skill sets part of it, responsibilities part of it, experience part of it, his current location part of it, his domain experience part of it. All these matters, right? Now the AI systems are so intelligent that it actually covers the 360 directions. The one that I was previously mentioning, it actually covers all the 360 direction whenever, when it does the assessment of these candidates. Okay, so now we have done a very beautiful implementation within our system, within Oorwin itself. Let's say, you put the candidates into this. You don't even need to put this, candidates into the system. Once you put the resume into the system, the Oorwin system itself automatically publishes this job in different mediums, and whatever response that you get from these channels, right? Whether you are talking about the job boards or a social media or any mass mailing that you do or a texting that you do, any response that you get, the system automatically intelligently identifies and it tags those resumes into the system. And again, it ranks. Let's say I got a 500 profiles for a particular job. It is of no use for the recruiter. He cannot just go through all these 500 resumes at the same point of time. He cannot just randomly pick up certain resumes, right? So what system would do is it automatically, ranks these candidates, in an ascending order, in terms of what is the percentage match, so that the recruiter can pick up first 10, 15 profiles and they can start engaging with that candidates and do that. So that is one of the beautiful feature that that we can do with the AI, where you can automate a lot of assessments with the candidates. And again, we really don't need to have a recruiter to call the candidates. The moment you have the resume into the system can automatically send an acknowledgement mail with the chatbot embedded with the mail itself. You can invoke the chat from the mail itself, where the candidate can directly chat with the chatbots, where the chatbot could provide every bit of information the candidate needs to know, right? And they wanted to have a human intervention where they wanted to talk to the recruiter, the chatbot can automatically redirect them to the recruiter or an account manager or the hiring manager, whoever is involved. Okay, so the chatbots are so intelligent now. These are like these are almost like a human interactions. As I was saying, these chatbots captures the intentions. These chatbots captures the emotions also, right? Not only just a flow, like a configure. If you ask this question, these are the set of answers that he needs to choose, and once he chooses these answers, we need to go to another question, kind of stuff. No, it actually captures the intentions, just like the humans. It also captures the emotions, and based on the emotions and intentions, the next level of questions, the systems are so intelligent. And these systems are integrated with any platform at this now. If I'm comfortable with my WhatsApp, I really don't want to do it through my mails. I don't want to reply through mails. These can initiate these chatbots through your WhatsApp or a texting or Google Hangouts or Facebook Messenger, whatever medium that you have, right? So ranking and assessment has been very matured in terms of the AI, and we have some very beautiful features that we incorporated in Oorwin. And next, and very interesting part, right? I got extremely good profiles. That profile has beat all the hurdles it had, whether it is a AI screening, ranking, assessment, and all that. Now you schedule the interview. The AI, it worked and it scheduled the interview. You never know who is there on the other side, right? So these guys are so mature nowadays. You see a completely different face in the video interviews, and you can see a completely different person when he joins, right? So there a lot of cheating that is happening. That is the fact that we should admit. Whenever we are going for the hiring. So the systems are so intelligent that it actually captures the facial analysis. It actually do the facial analysis of it. When I say the facial analysis, the AI can capture the intentions based on the emotions on their faces as well, and it also captures that particular face. When the employee joins with his picture, the systems can actually compare whether it is the same individual who has been in that interview. It is not only just the face part of it. It is not the just face map, but it also captures that the intensity of their tone, whether it is the same candidate who has been who was part of that interview, and all that can be captured. And again, these are all independent of any medium. These these can be analyzed through browsers, these can be analyzed through mobile devices, anyone, and these are completely automated. Even the chatbots can invoke a video interviews with the candidates with a very predefined set of questions, where you can invoke if it is a technical interview, you can invoke the coding and all that. The systems are so intelligent that would able to take a decision on any particular coding activity then and there itself. And based on what response the candidate has given, the next level of questions, the intensity and severity of these questions can also be decided by the systems itself. And there is a lot of automation here again, as part of the facial expression analysis and voice analysis comparison, to eliminate all the fake interviews and all that. There are a lot of intelligence in terms of screening as well, right? That screening could be at the technical level, at the expression level, at the emotional level. There are a lot of things that can be captured. So we have quite a good number of systems which could help in dealing all this. Okay. The next one is the chatbots that I was talking about, right? So as I was saying, right, we really don't need 73% of the activities or repetitive activities for the recruiter. Let's say if a recruiter is working on any job opening, so there are certain traditional things that these guys would be doing. One is initiating a discussion with the candidate. And if you look at it, the first level of discussion with the candidate is almost 95%. It is very standard set of questions. We really don't need to have a very smartness to deal that. So all these can be eliminated with the chatbots, wherein you can very effectively engage with the candidates in terms of what information that they need. If they wanted to have any specific connectivity, or if any specific information which is not been available in any information that has been published by that particular organization, everything can be automated from the chatbots. And again, these are very smart chatbots. As I was saying, it's not a traditional chatbot where it just replies what is being configured, but these chatbots are intentional capturing chatbots, and it is independent of the medium, whether you wanted to do it from Facebook or from WhatsApp or any other medium, you could be able to do that. Okay. And what is there for the candidate in as an AI, right? So now whatever that I covered is on the recruitment recruiter and the company side of it. But when it comes to the candidate side of it, how it would help the candidate in terms of transparency and the easy application process, right? Now it made it pretty easy, right, for the candidate to apply for any particular job available in any medium using any tools or any means. And the better candidate experience using this AI, they really don't need to wait. Let's say I applied for a particular job and I know that I'm a good match and I've been waiting for this particular position. The moment I call the a recruiter, they say, hey, I got too many applications for this for this particular position. I need to go through all of those and we need to shortlist and we will come back. That comeback might be a day, might be a week, might be a month, or they never come back again, right? So the experience that the candidate will have is will have a very big impact in terms of whether they would apply back again if there is a similar position, or if they would encourage any other candidates to apply for that particular organization, right? So if you look at all of this, you will get an instant application acknowledgement. The moment you apply, you get an acknowledgement, and you can invoke a chatbot. You can actually do the conversation with the candidates. And the best part is that, guys, there are intelligent systems which would advise the candidates in terms of how much percentage that particular resume is for that particular job, and why that percentage, and what needs to be improved in that resume, so that the better chances of getting his resume be shortlisted. Even we have very intelligent systems which would actually do that comparison and advise the candidates. And as I was mentioning, the experience is the one that really matters. We have a real-time application status that can be seen using the AI systems and the communication that you can define, and there are data and metrics driven decisions that can be taken. Now, if you look at all these activities, right, whatever that I have covered so far, these are independent activities that I was talking about. You club everything now, right? All of these activities are independently, autonomously perform certain activities. You really don't need to have a very, any human intervention here. Now you club all of this. The moment you have a job description, you just provide whatever that you are looking for this position. The system would automatically, using augmented writing, it actually writes all the job description for you, and the publishing AI publishing tools would publish wherever that is needed based on the analysis that it does, whether it has to be published in social media or it has to be published in job boards or whatever, that would also be taken care. Once it is published, once you get all these resumes, pouring back, the system would automatically captures all those resumes, and it automatically screens all these resumes. Even if it is 10 resumes or 100 resumes or 200 resumes, the system would automatically review all these resumes, and based on the suitability, it automatically ranks these resumes. Let's say I have 100 resumes that I got for a position, it automatically ranks all these. Now the system can automatically pick first 20 profiles and send an acknowledge mail saying that, hey, thanks for applying, we have certain information that we are seeking for you, and that can invoke a chatbot with the employee, with the candidate. The chatbot can complete most of this stuff in terms of confirming certain information with the candidate, or if it wants to do some pre-screening, whether that pre-screening could be a technical pre-screening or a video pre-screening, everything can be invoked from the chatbot itself. But if they want to schedule anything, the chatbot would schedule that for them. You really don't need to have any human interventions here. Right now, the publishing part of it, the sourcing part of it, the assessing part of it, the screening is what I was talking about. The scheduling the video interviews and running the video interviews can be done by these intelligent systems. Once everything is done, let's say I have 100 profiles on all of these activities were taken care by the by the systems, then it handovers to the recruiter. Let's say, hey, I got 100 profiles, out of that this is what we have done, and these are the 4 or 5 candidates that we shortlisted, and these are all the activities and these are the results that we got, and all the analysis, everything that a recruiter or a hiring manager needs to know, and then it handovers to the human. That is where the human factor comes into picture, where they can take it to the next level in terms of onboarding, and there are a lot of things that you can do using AI in the onboarding as well. Okay, that's exactly the AI recruiter is all about, which is actually coming up, where all of these activities can be driven with intelligence and automation. And at the end of the day, what you get is a very quality profile, without any unbiased, with unbiased selection. And there might be a lot of questions that might be coming up. People were talking about, now we have the AI systems coming up which are automating a lot of stuff. Do we really need recruiters? Are these the AI intelligent systems replacing the humans? No, that is not the case, right? Whatever we are doing in recruitment is more of interacting with the humans. You need to have a human factor that needs to be involved. So what these systems would typically do is, these would replace the manual and repetitive work, and the output of it is a very productive and effective results, wherein the time to hire and the cost to hire, is very, very less, and also the experience of the candidate is very enhanced. An algorithm can recruit a recruiter in terms of sourcing and assessing the job candidates, but it cannot replace the human factor of it. So there might be a lot of productivity that would be increased, but with my perception, it doesn't actually replace any humans, but it would more of a increasing the productivity of the recruiters. It would actually put the recruiters in a very strategic position in terms of increasing their competency and concentrate on other factors, while leaving all the repetitive and autonomous works to AI systems. Okay. So these are some of the perspectives.
Ravi, I have a quick question. Do you think that there will be any challenge in adopting AI? Are there any challenges which you see that people might not like it? Like you said, it isn't going to replace. So you have covered that. But are there any more challenges which you think we foresee in future in adopting AI for recruitment?
Yes, it does. It does. If you remember, when I was young and when I was in my teenagers, we used to have a movie called RoboCop. right? So it's a very, sci-fi movie where, a robotic cop was designed, right, with a very pre-configured set of activities that he can do. So if you look at the AI aspect of it, it has the positive sides and it has the negative sides as well. So whatever you feed to the system, it can be taken in a different direction as well. Unless you have the AI systems in a very restricted and ethical manner, it can be taken in a very bad shape as well, right? So yes, to some extent, it has to be implemented. It has to be taken in a very controlled environment. It is not that we cannot completely believe on the systems and take decisions. But as I was mentioning, whenever we are implementing the AI technology part of it, there should always be an ethical side of it, right? So as I was mentioning, I was giving a webinar on ethical AI and how all these ethical systems should come under a particular body, where there would be certain guidelines that needs to be defined while designing the system. There are a lot of organizations has defined their own ethical boundaries for AI systems while designing. From IBM, from Microsoft, they are coming up with their own policies while doing it. And the whole AI industry is going towards a direction where they wanted to have a standardized rules. It's not that someone can design a system, AI system, which can think on their own with the data that is being available, and they can just leave that into the market where anyone can start using it, which would actually give a lot of adverse results as well. So yes, so the industry is moving towards that direction where we will have a very controlled environment in terms of what we can build and what result set that it can provide.
Okay.
Okay. So I am done with my insights. So if anyone have any questions, I would be more than happy to.
Yeah. The first question somebody has asked is, does our system, that is Oorwin, helps to eliminate the bias in hiring?
Obviously, yes.
Very nice question. I like that.
Yes, as I was mentioning, so we have been doing quite a lot of interesting things which were not available in any other systems in the market, quite revolutionary. So when you are talking about the shortlisting and assessing of the profiles, the system will not take any bias in things, right? It will not consider the the age factors of it. It will not consider the race factors of it. It will not consider any other factor. It's purely based on the merit items. Yes, we do have.
Okay. So what are the, so a couple of more questions. So what are the, any relevant case study you have where AI is being used using the face analysis?
Right. So there is an interesting thing that we are currently doing. It's still in the R&D phase of it, right? So we are planning to integrate a video screening within the portal itself. So whoever sits in front of the camera, so the system would automatically captures all that, and if there are any social profiles available for that particular candidate, it automatically verifies then and there itself, taking the picture of that particular video, and it actually do the comparison of the pictures that we have of this particular candidate who is available in open web, and it actually gives you everything in the screen itself. Hey, this is the guy, this is what you needed to know. The pictures are not mapping, or if it is mapping, what is the percentage of mapping that is being. It actually doesn't give you any result as such, but what it would give is more of a suggestion, simple. Yeah.
Okay, that's all we have. And so it was quite informative, I'm sure, for everybody. Ravi has covered most of the aspects how AI is going to help recruiters in the near future. And of course, Oorwin has been right in the forefront with their various recruitment tools, like our own ATS, our CRM, our HRMS system. So anybody is interested to take a demo, please reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you out.
Thanks, Mahesh.
Thank you. Thanks, Ravi. Thank you very much.
Everyone, stay safe.
Yeah. Thank you.